So here's a topic that I think in some way sort of like connects to um, whatever compelled me to get this project going. And it is the topic of speaking in general and speaking sort of like your truth. And I think for as long as I can remember, I've had some kind of wisdom that people would come to me for. And even as a kid, like there'd be times where adults would come to me for advice and that kind of stuff. And I feel like in many ways I didn't really appreciate that, or in many ways I still don't, because like from my perspective, it's kind of difficult in the sense that a lot of the ideas that I share are things that seem like given to me or obvious in a sense. But it's more so I think that I don't really know how I got to this point of view that has led me to this perspective or this series of perspectives. So then in a sense I rely on other people to kind of like share how helpful or not my insight is to them. Now with this and sort of like this, and I think it was recently that I sort of like really almost took like a conscious effort to appreciate this gift or this ability or this skill. With it came almost like the realization that so often we want to say something, or someone does something, or someone asks something, or someone's experiencing something, and we want to say something to them, but we hold back. And that I think in some way, shape, or form that becomes troublesome for us later, in the sense that we're bottling up our voice. We're holding our voice back. We're holding who we are back, maybe for fear of things being taken the wrong way, or things not playing out the way we're hoping for them to play out, or whatever it is. But we hold who we are back, and then eventually I think we bottle ourselves up and become something that we can't recognize. And I mean it in a like a pretty wide way. Like I don't mean it just for saying things, or I guess I do mean it in the sense of saying things, but maybe using a wider definition for saying or speaking, that not only includes verbal dexterity, but also dexterity in creating art or creating music, or just generally putting things out there, just kind of like creating things and sharing them, that I think has a really profound effect on how we look at ourselves and how we interact with the world around us, and I think more importantly in how we accept ourselves. That I think there's something really powerful in which, if you, for example, you're a writer, or let's not give you that definition as a person, but you're someone who enjoys writing and you want to share your writing, but you're afraid of what people are going to say, that after you put your writing out there, there's almost like a weight that you didn't know was there, but suddenly lifted off of you, that, you know what, that wasn't that hard. And maybe there will be people who will take it in the direction that you didn't expect or that you didn't intend. But suddenly you realize that it's not as bad as you thought. And also it's that combination of how you feel about just putting yourself sort of like out there, just creating and building things with your mind, with your thoughts, with your words, with a pencil, with a pen, with a brush, whatever it is, just I think we would all benefit from more people feeling the freedom or giving themselves permission to put themselves out there and put their art or their creativity in whatever form that happens. That doesn't need to happen in the way that we normally think of creativity, but someone who's really passionate about, I don't know, driving public transportation, driving buses. There's an art form to that. There's an art form in which those people can put thoughts and reaction and what's the word? And reflexes into weaving this huge vehicle through the tiniest of spaces and through crowds and in these concrete jungles, that there's art everywhere. And there's something about people when they do something that they enjoy, that it is incredibly inspiring in whatever way that is manifesting. So I feel like this is something that would have been very useful for me to understand way early on. So I think in part that's why I'm sharing it, because I think in a sense I had to figure it out for myself. And this might be true for everyone, that everyone might need to figure out how, in what way they can speak their truth. And maybe the way in which we speak our truth is more than one, and maybe that more than one changes along our lives. But to find something that works for us and to kind of get it out there, and it doesn't need to be putting it out there on the internet so that everyone can see it, but just if it is just writing, just getting the writing into paper or into digital paper or whatever it is, just kind of figuring out what works for us and getting those kind of feelings out there and ideas out there. I think we would really benefit from again, creating environments and fostering spaces in which people can manifest and expose themselves in almost their purest form.